What is going on, guys? Welcome to episode 39 of the Gamers for Life podcast, where each and every Saturday we're discussing all things games. I'm one of your hosts, Jarrell. With me is my co-host, my right-hand man, my ABXY, Arthur. What is going on, man?
A decent amount. I've been no-lifing State of Decay, too.
Nice.
Took me forever to finally get into it. I just was, like, craving an open-world level-up-ish game, and I was like, you know what? State of Decay makes hits all the sticks. I love the first game.
Yeah.
And if you played the first game, you could just tell it felt like it was meant to be cooperative.
Yeah.
And they finally made it cooperative for part 2. So for that, I've been no-lifing it the past 3 days. I think I'm already probably 15 hours in. 5 hours here, 5 hours there.
Nice. Yeah, we got your clip on there on the Gamers for Life Instagram. You were not playing around.
Dude, it's fun, man. The headshots are rewarding. The game has, as for a zombie game, the game has a great balance of suspense, but not too much. Because if you come home, at least for me, it's if you have a long day at work, having a crazy suspenseful heart pounding game probably isn't what you want to first play through. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I just worked, or you know what I mean? It's hey, you just all this happened, or you had a stressful day. You don't want to play a stressful game.
Right.
It's oh man, today sucked.
Fatal Frame.
Yeah, I was let me.
Or Resident Evil 8 or whatever.
Let me play Silent Hill. You're like, yo, let me play some Stardew Valley, maybe some Minecraft.
Yeah. Something to get your mind off things.
Something just stupid, easy. But yeah, so for a zombie game, it's a good balance of suspenseful but not too much, and because it's all about surviving. The way to describe State of Decay, it's State of Decay is like the Walking Dead game we've yet to really get.
Yeah, I would say so, definitely. Well, the interesting thing about State of Decay for me is that the cooperative component is really cool, and then also the house building mechanics, keeping your people sane, I thought is really cool. It's let me give this guy a sandwich so he doesn't kill me.
Yeah, or
when I'm asleep.
If let's say there's an infestation next door to your base, morale goes low and people start freaking out. You're like, hey man, there's a fuckload of zombies next door. I can't sleep at night. But it's really fun. Time management's a big thing in the game because when missions come up hey, I need help, you got 5 minutes to get over there or be I'm okay. Because that's the thing I've learned, because I'm still, even though I'm 15 hours in for an open world game, I feel for this game I could say I'm still arguably early game or what it feels like. And missions come and go super fast. Okay. Like I said, if you get it's hey, someone, I need help, and you're oh, I'm in the middle of a mission. All of a sudden, 5 minutes later, it's that mission's gone. You're did he die? Whoops. But it's fun. The cooperative element's really cool. I think the game snowballs pretty good in terms of leveling up your character, getting resources. What's this cat again?
Of course, the famous cat.
This is Lolo.
Lolo.
She just loves sniffing everything.
Messing stuff up.
You're a very little one. But otherwise, State of Decay. Yeah, that's what I've been doing the past few days.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. Very awesome. Well, if you are watching this or listening, be sure to, first of all, if you're watching, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell there on the YouTube channel that we just started up. So be sure to do that. We definitely appreciate it. Going to be releasing some more content for you guys. And if you are listening to this, be sure to subscribe, to follow any of the podcast applications of your choice. So be sure to do that. And here on the Gamers for Life podcast, we read the news while you can watch or listen to what you choose by clicking on the links of the time codes within the description of the episode. So be sure to do that if you have a certain segment on here that you prefer to listen to, or you can just listen to the whole damn thing. Hang out with us here at the Gamers for Life podcast. And Arthur, we are wrapping up, or E3 is wrapped up.
Yeah,
it's done. Yeah, I know. And the last thing that we,
I could have slept through most of it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the biggest thing that we missed that we end up, we watched, of course, that we didn't talk about is the Nintendo E3 showcase, which got some pretty positive responses, if I may say so myself.
I think if I just sum up E3, I would say that all the developers failed. The studios killed it.
Yeah.
Microsoft, Nintendo killed it. All the other developers fucking sucked.
Yeah, they need some grooming, most definitely. So yeah, I mean, it seems like for Nintendo, I think they did a great job. Obviously, the biggest, to me, the biggest thing that stuck out, you know, of course, there's some pretty cool things like Kazuya being announced in Smash Brothers, him being a playable character from Tekken.
I'm just murdering the world.
Yeah, yeah, throwing people off cliffs, the whole shit.
Just reenacting Lord of the Rings. Throw into the fire. Not Captain Falcon. Yeah, that was a pretty dark opening, I would say, for a Nintendo thing. It's like just dead Ganondorf just being carried across the chasm to be dumped off a cliff. What a way to make Link look like a bitch.
Yeah, I mean,
like this is your big baddie. Like, I'm only breaking a sweat carrying his dead body.
Yeah, because and it's funny because it's like, well, it is accurate to his story because like Heihachi like threw him off of a cliff or whatever, and you know, and all that stuff.
They went deep with those little references there.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, well, at least they stayed true to the character. So that was pretty cool. Obviously, you have Metroid Dread, which is a really big deal. That was announced. It's the first Metroid game in like what, 6 to 8 years?
They said it was the first side-scrolling game in like 12.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and here's the thing about Metroid. Here's the thing. I don't have a Switch. No shocker. I like how they started saying it like, "Hey, we know we mentioned Metroid Prime 4 4 years ago. We're still working on it. Here's something else."
Here's something.
Because I remember saying like, "Wait, aren't they already working on a game?" They're like, "Yeah, we know. Here's another game we're working on." Right. And I'm not, I can't really call myself a Nintendo fan at the moment. I'm a Nintendo fan, but not a Nintendo console owner. Yeah. But for me, looking from the outside in, I'm like, how about you finish the first thing? Yeah. How about you finish that very first game? Yeah. Yeah. I'm a little distracted because the cat. I'm trying to see if my cat's gonna pull.
You gotta move that cat, man. He's gonna turn off the camera.
Christmas vacation. Okay.
Yeah, he's gotta go.
Yeah. Okay. One sec. Still can't believe they didn't get that bingo point.
Nice. And then obviously, we would be fools to not mention the biggest announcement for the Nintendo E3 showcase. Breath of the Wild 2 showing some gameplay for it. Yeah. And pretty interesting stuff, man. I mean, obviously, I'm not a Nintendo guy, but I know the impact that it made for a lot of Nintendo people. There's like reaction videos of like gamers crying and stuff and just like head over heels over Breath of the Wild 2. And they said that how it's going to be coming out next year. Yeah. So, well, here's the thing. To remember that. I mean, I'm not saying no. It just there was that big. Was it expletive? Just exclaimer. There you go. I swear I always think of words. Eventually. Yeah. Remember, because the Nintendo conference did open with the exclaimer saying, "Hey, dates shown are maybe subject to change due to COVID-19." Blah 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 blah. Yeah. But it did say 2022. I don't know. Yeah. That game may be the one that gets me to buy a Switch. That or the new Mario Party Superstar thing. Yeah, that one also announced because they're bringing in like three. It's pretty much 3 of the old maps plus the current Mario Party stuff, which I think is awesome. Yeah, absolutely. That was announced too. So definitely the Breath of the Wild thing was a huge friggin' deal. And kudos to Nintendo for that because they didn't have to do that, and obviously they knew that was going to resonate with the audience watching there. So definitely kudos to them. It's funny because that Nintendo is good at what they do when like their core fan base is like, oh yeah, they had the best show. You know what I mean? Like everything that they released, I feel like it really tugged at people. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Nintendo had the best show. Definitely the second. Yeah. But I can see why Nintendo fans think it's the best because I'm like, well, if you think about it, arguably they showed like 3 games that would make one of people go buy a Switch right now. Yeah. Breath of the Wild 2. Yeah. The Mario Party thing.
and the Metroid game.
Yeah.
Everything else I think is like games you can wait on and stuff like that. Like they're bringing back Advanced Wars, which I love.
Yeah.
I played that on an emulator. That's something Nintendo doesn't like to hear, but make your shit easier to play, dude. Or easier to access.
Yeah. Seriously.
But yeah, so again, I know a lot of Nintendo fans say like Nintendo 1E3. I'm like, they showed 3 games that's worth buying. They used to pay with money. Xbox is like, fuck it, we got Game Pass.
Yeah, I think the general I think the general consensus was that Xbox won that showcase or won E3, and I would have to agree. It's just they're offering, and then really just like. Telling people like, hey, Game Pass is awesome and this is why, it's kind of like solidifying like, okay, I need to get Game Pass for a lot of people that
because I think because we're talking about who won E3, the only contenders are Nintendo and Microsoft. Everyone else shit the bricks. Again, I can't think of a fucking phrase. Here's a brick, shit on it, I don't care. Whatever, there were bricks and there was shit. Ubisoft was involved. I don't know. But because I think Xbox won, and I think Microsoft won both in terms of quantity and quality. Because at the end of the day, when you look up the lineup of games that Microsoft showed, again, they showed 30 games, 27 of them are on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Microsoft showed spitballing maybe double digits, like 10, like maybe 10, 11. And you're like, if you want all those games, give them money. Where I'm like, Xbox is like, you'll get Game Pass? We cool.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, it's another one of those things where it's like, I don't know if anybody can beat this, so definitely kudos to them. And to me, man, there's some people that think that there's an article I was reading before. I don't know who it's by. I didn't put it on here because I just don't agree. But some people think that Sony was right not to show up. And I don't know if I agree with that. I feel like there's something that they could have talked about at least to excite people. I think Sony should have shown up. I can't talk. Looking at what Nintendo and Microsoft did. Because remember, again, the developers all fucking failed. Right.
But the studios killed it. And seeing how good Microsoft did and Nintendo did, Sony could have totally shown up.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to like the big 3, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft, Sony's in 3rd.
Yeah.
And again, Nintendo did a great job. Again, I don't think they did better than Microsoft, but they did a hell of a job. Again, alone with Breath of the Wild 2 gameplay, and a tentative release date of next year.
Right.
We're halfway through this year, so if it comes out in January, it comes out in 6 months. So again, Sony could have, we called it back a few episodes back. Sony could have absolutely been like the number one next gen selling console, and which they are, or soon to be were.
Yeah.
They could have totally stepped up and shown us something more of God of War. I forget what other projects. I was gonna say I forgot what other projects they're making, because all their announcements have not been game related. All their announcements have been like, oh, here we're removing stuff from the store. Now that's back on the store. Now we have an AI. They just have not been focusing on games at all.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think when it comes to Sony, I think they should have showed up as well, especially like you said, with the other two, your other two, like I guess you could say competitors, but not competitors, but other big, big companies that produce, these plethora of games there at a show, like. Why wouldn't you show up? You know what I mean? Like, it's just
Xbox showed 30 games.
Yeah. And a lot of them were games that we knew about that just showed a little more information. So part of me is like, are the studios that backed up where it doesn't make sense to show up?
Yeah, because a lot of people can say, oh, they didn't say anything new, but then that's a fair argument, but at least reassured us of what we're gonna buy.
Right.
It reassured Halo fans, especially that multiplayer shit.
That is lot insane.
Of people that was trending. That was trending on you. That was trending. The Halo multiplayer trailer was number one on trending during the weekend.
Oh wow.
So, again, nothing. arguably was new with an asterisk. Again, the Halo multiplayer was new, but we know Halo is going to exist.
Yeah.
And everything else, it just assured us, like you were already looking forward to Ascent, and now you're like, fuck it, I want to play day one, and that's good.
Yeah,
that's good because you take a step back from Microsoft, look at it from a developer point of view. It just reassured a lot of us these games are going to exist and they're going to be good.
Yeah,
like Dying Light, is it going to exist? And then after all these bullshit on Twitter, Dying Light's like, fine, yes, it's going to exist. So again, they just reassured us that, hey, don't worry, all these games you're looking forward to, not only they're going to exist, here's what they're going to look like.
Yeah.
Like in the Starfield gameplay.
Yeah.
That's something a lot of fucking people are looking forward to. And also now that it's exclusive.
Yes, and we will get deeper into that because that was a big trending thing as well. But yeah, great points. I agree with you, Arthur. Sony should have been there, and they fucked up for that. So they have to do another confusing state of play.
Who knows?
Showcasing one game or whatever it is.
We've had 3 state of plays this year. Yeah. 2 were singular game focused, and 1 was just kind of like a mini conference of just here's a bunch of things. Yeah.
So
they could have shown more Shifu. That game looked cool. We'll never know.
Yeah, one thing before we leave E3, one thing I do think that's really cool that Xbox did is that a lot of games were available via demo to play. Yeah. Which I think is awesome, and I think like Nintendo and Sony should do that if they didn't do it during this E3 timeframe. Because I definitely would have downloaded and played something for say Game Pass on PC, for example. Yeah. But just in general, like E3, I feel like they need to do that more. They used to do that too. I think
they used to announce the demos available to download or if you're at E3 live now on the E3 floor. Remember that phrase, live on the E3 floor. Yeah. They would say, hey, come by the Microsoft booth. You can play it right now. Yeah. Or if you're at home, download it.
Right. Exactly.
And that was good. And I'll say it again. Given the fact that it's still a COVID related industry, I was still shocked of how many, even from Nintendo, how many game release dates we got.
A lot of games are on track. Very surprisingly so, yeah. Surprisingly so, a lot of games are on track.
Because one of my not bingo things, but prediction was we're going to get a lot of coming soon or TBA. Right. And we're like, no, fuck, it's next year. It's next holiday. Here's the exact fucking date. And these was 10 fucking days.
Yeah, we're like, whoa, I'm not even ready. I got to update my Xbox.
Yeah, and at the time of, if you're listening to this on Saturday, Sea of Thieves comes out, the Sea of Thieves Jack Sparrow thing drops Tuesday, 22nd.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. That's another thing, too, is the game of what's going to be pushed back. What's actually going to come out, even though it has a date. Because, Deathloop had, 2 or 3 dates and it kept getting pushed back. Now it's in September, I think. So.
If I had to guess a game that's going to get delayed, I think Breath of the Wild 2. Because remember they didn't give a month or a season, just a year. Yeah. And again, in Nintendo's defense, they can't throw up their hands and be like, "We gave the disclaimer." Yeah. So I think Breath of the Wild 2. Also Nintendo. I don't think it's gonna be a delay, but I think we're gonna go the next 2, or at least for sure the next Nintendo Direct, without any updates on Metroid Prime 4. Because remember, they themselves said 4 years ago we announced it, but we're working on something else. Yeah. I think people are still gonna have to wait for that.
Let's talk about Microsoft for a second. Yeah. So we know last year, right? Last year we were on track for playing Halo Infinite, right?
Yeah. And that was supposed to come out last year. That was last July, saying, hey, it's gonna come out the holiday season, the November after.
Right. And you're right, exactly. We saw that trailer. People were a little concerned based on what it looked like. Yeah. And then they made the right decision, I think, to push the game back. Right. Yeah. I don't think they can afford to do that again.
I think you're right. I think we are in the limbo. We are in the limbo of learning what happens when you don't release the finished game. But at the same time, if you keep pushing a game back, It's just inevitable to piss people off.
Yeah.
I'm not in that category. You know, I'm always like, hey, if you're going to push a game back and be transparent of like, look, we've noticed this, we want to fix it, rather than having either a 10 or 10 to 50 gigabyte day one patch.
Yeah.
Like Fallout 76. Fallout 76 had a day one 50 gigabyte patch.
Yeah.
Fuck you. And it still didn't fuck work. Sorry, I will never not shit on Fallout 76. Sorry, Todd. But yeah, you're right. I think they can't afford a delay. But because a lot of things that made it delayed, I think was just for me, from what it looked like, was just polish work.
Yeah. It wasn't like major bugs or anything. I mean, to be granted, I don't think there's been a massive enough of people to play the game to test things like that, crashes and all that. So yeah, as far as like the looks of it, it wasn't like Assassin's Creed, like Unity, where it was like I'm seeing skulls and eyeballs.
Yeah, like my main character is a walking eyeball skeleton.
It's like, oh, it's medieval.
But again, because even when they released the quote unquote not patch notes, but like the notes of what they're working on, a lot of it was cosmetic stuff.
Yeah,
and you know, compare that to other game launches like 76, No Man's Sky, and now Cyberpunk. Were like, no, like core features just did not fucking work.
Yeah,
that destroyed the immersion, made the game arguably unplayable. But again, I think from what we're seeing from Halo, it's just a lot of, again, cosmetic polish work.
Yeah.
So I think they should be on track to hit their deadline.
Seems promising. Whenever that deadline is. Holiday of this year.
Holidays of this year. Holidays of this year. So, and hopefully by then I can buy an Xbox Series X.
Boom. Yeah, I know. We're trying to hunt down one early this week, man.
GameStop had a cryptic fucking social media post of like, will we have an Xbox? Will we have Xboxes on these dates?
Yeah,
maybe. Like
it was like some Mr. Robot shit. I'm like, what is going on?
Are you gonna have it or not? And it's weird because that cryptic social media post from GameStop said, you know, visit online to buy it.
Right.
And it was never online. You just had to line up at the store.
Yeah.
And you tried, but it's like, but there's people camping out, and it's like,
yeah,
we're down to buy a new console. I think we could both agree we're not down to fucking camp.
It's you know, back in the day I would be all for that. That was like my thing. But
yeah, back in the day, like fresh out of high school, you're on summer vacation. You know, you don't got responsibilities.
Hanging out with the friends, it's like picking up a game. Yeah.
I'm gonna go. Hey man, I'm gonna sneak out of first period to get some Mountain Dew and Monster. But you know, you're an adult. You're like, do you want to camp? Like, no.
Yeah, it's like not for this shit.
I'm okay. And then each store only got like maybe 10, maybe double digits, like 5 to 7.
Yeah. If I was there 3 hours earlier, I probably would have gotten one. But you know, I don't know.
But do you want to go to a store 3 hours before it opens? No.
Yeah.
Like maybe if I had if I had a comfortable chair, and first of all, it was not fucking summer.
Yeah. No.
It's like, hey, I want to go sit 3 hours in 90-degree weather. No, I'm good.
It's like I just took a shower and it doesn't smell like it.
Yeah. Because it was like at least locally here, it was like 85, 90 with humidity.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, do you want to sit outside in the sun for 3 hours? Nah.
So moving on here, when it comes to some hot news that dropped earlier this week, still got it. So there is an article here that came out this week regarding to Ubisoft, Disney, and mainly this Star Wars game that we've kind of been waiting to see what is going to become of it, or if it's going to happen, because we were discussing earlier that, you know, there's supposed to be a big Star Wars game coming out, not the KOTOR remake, like an actual brand new open world Star Wars game
from Ubisoft.
And we were very concerned because we found out about the Star Wars game from the Farmville makers.
Hey, if you have a Switch and you want to waste your fucking money, there'll be a game coming out for you.
Yeah, we were like, please tell me this isn't what they were talking about. Yeah. But there's an article here from IGN, and it says here, in quote, Disney was convinced to let Ubisoft Massive make an open world Star Wars game after its first meeting with the developer, a meeting which was actually to discuss the Avatar game Frontiers of Pandora. In an interview with IGN, Senior Vice President of Walt Disney Games, Sean Shoptaw, revealed that he and his team had met with Massive after Disney's acquisition acquisition with Fox, which include an already in development Avatar video game project. The discussion earlier had a major effect. It says here that a continuing quote says that first meeting we had with Massive around the Avatar game after we acquired Fox was really jumping off point for the Star Wars game. There was such an alignment and such creative passion around the Star Wars IP from that team that it just was a natural evolution to the relationship and really led to the Star Wars game we announced not too long ago. Announced earlier this year, Massive's next project for Avatar answers years of requests from fans for an open-world Star Wars game. I asked Shoptaw whose idea was it to try and satisfy those asking for an open structure for a Star Wars game, and it seemed that both sides mutually agreed that it was the way to go from the beginning, end quote. So I find it interesting that the Avatar game was the straw that broke the camel's back to for the green light for Star Wars. Like, what are you guys talking about?
This worries me of whether Lucas Entertainment cares about its product. This worries me whether or not Lucas Entertainment cares about its product and its name, or if it just wants to be a fucking license machine.
Oh my god!
And just make money from people that use their characters.
Yeah,
I mean, fucking Farmville. So yeah, to be told, oh, they're making an Avatar game 10 fucking years after the movie came out, they know what they're doing. Give the game to those guys. Like, seriously, wouldn't that, like, to have Avatar be the final of like, oh, that's the one, they're making an Avatar game?
Yeah.
Oh, they know what the kids like.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of shows a lot of concern. It definitely shows a concern for me when it comes to, like you said, just being in touch with what people want. And no one asked for an Avatar game. I think the closest to Avatar, and it's not very close, is Horizon. The Horizon series for Forbidden West and Zero Dawn. But they're excellent games in their own right, separate from Avatar.
I also like to correct myself. That movie did not come out 10 years ago. It came out 12 years ago.
Holy God.
So again, for Lucas Entertainment to they're making a game about a movie that came out over a decade ago. Yeah. Give them the rights.
Good Lord.
I mean, I'm not saying Ubisoft can't do it. This is more, again, hearing this isn't for me, it's like for me, it's like I can laugh at Ubisoft. But again, my main concern is Lucas Entertainment.
Yeah. Film games or whatever they're called. Yeah. Potentially does not care about its content. It just wants to make money through licenses. That scares me too a little bit, Arthur, because when it comes to RPG titles, when it comes to games, as important as the Star Wars open world game, we have the Ubisoft, the Obsidians of the world, right? That make amazing games such as the Outer Worlds.
And Star Wars Knights of the Republic 2. Yeah,
the KOTOR 2, obviously. But obviously they're connected to Microsoft, and I don't think they would make that game an exclusive. But the Star Wars game, that is. But
I don't think they would let them.
Yeah, seriously. And then we had CD Projekt Red, and then Cyberpunk came out, and we're like, okay, we don't trust you guys anymore.
Yeah, dude, it's like the more we talk about it, it's like Obsidian has the potential to rise amongst the ranks of the new quote unquote most trusted RPG developer.
Yeah, seriously.
Bethesda let us down. Cyberpunk let us down. And just while everyone's fighting amongst who's the shittier now,
right?
Obsidian can just fucking kill it with Avowed and Outer Worlds 2.
Yeah. A brief side note: I didn't mention this during the E3 thing, and I know it was big. Elden Ring was announced.
Yeah,
and the trailer, little gameplay kind of.
It's from the makers of Dark Souls, From Software.
Yeah.
Written by, I think fully written by, or if not, heavily involved, but with George R.R. Martin.
Yeah.
A Games of Thrones writer.
Right, exactly.
Not writer of the last season, writer of the books.
Yeah, he skipped that last season almost just to look it up on Screen Rant.
People have been waiting for that forever, because that was a game that got announced a long time ago. And for me, this is on to a point on par with Kojima and Del Toro.
Yeah.
So again, for Dark Souls fans and open world RPG, because that's another thing too. This is an open world game.
Yes.
Dark Souls, though the maps are large, are arguably linear.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, to get to this boss, you have to do this, to do that, A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yeah.
That's how the alphabet works. But this will be an open world Souls-like game.
Yeah.
With, fantasy, modern day king, George R. R. Martin.
Yeah.
Huge fucking potential there, and we finally got to see some shit.
Yeah, very exciting stuff there. I was reading an article that said that that he was involved working on some of the characters, like writing some of the characters, but he says other than that, he's like, I'm waiting for y'all too. I'm waiting with you guys to see how the game's gonna be.
I can tell if you've seen the footage. I feel like I can tell. I want to say you can definitely tell aesthetic wise who had their hands on what.
Yeah.
Like there's a few monsters they showed, you're like, that's a fucking Dark Souls boss.
Yeah.
It's like one hand forms into another hand, which is now 1,000 hands which have eyes. I'm like, okay, that's from Software. That disgusting Nightmare Fuel is definitely a character made by from Software. And then there's this elegant looking knight sort of thing. I'm like, okay, that's George R. R. Martin. He kind of definitely, but he makes some, but he can make some dark shit too. Like, have you, like, not too much of a side note, but have you seen like what the Iron Throne's supposed to look like? Like in the books, it's way more cryptic and fucking evil.
Interesting.
Way more. Yeah. It's essentially like, like, hey, this is a throne that has, this is the throne of like 1,000 swords that's kill 1,000 lives. It's you sit up on a throne. It's like you sit up on a throne of death.
Did they talk about that on the show?
Probably.
Because that I don't even remember. Like, I've seen the entire season or the entire show, all the seasons, but just like that description, like, it makes it so much more interesting. Because
in the show they do you do see the swords, but again, it's like if you look at what the throne's supposed to look like, it's like it has like its own little ramp. It's like 15 feet tall.
Yeah, because it's just like that context like creates so much more.
Yeah, it looks crazy.
Yeah.
So he definitely can delve into like that twisted dark aesthetic too easily.
Interesting.
So that's what I like. The Lost PT of Kojima and Del Toro. This is a good pairing.
Now, speaking of people that owe us apologies, I'm going to go into the next segment here. So, Bethesda, there's a really interesting / funny article that dropped because of the news and surprising information from a lot of gamers on the PlayStation side. Where Starfield is an Xbox exclusive, Xbox and PC, and it got such a hot bothering topic over the nets, over the internet. Once he was the vice president or senior vice president, he just said, in quote, "Sorry, all I can really say is I apologize." So to continue here. An article according to IGN here. It says here in quote, after months of they will, won't they speculation, Microsoft and Bethesda have confirmed that upcoming RPG Starfield will be an Xbox Series XS and PC exclusive. Oh, it is going to be on Series S. We should have bought that system. It was the last one. Fuck it.
No, Sorry.
You don't want to play everything in 1440p?
No. What you're all speaking of, we mentioned earlier at GameStop, how he had a chance to buy a Series S.
Yeah.
They're out of the S's, but they had we had a chance to buy Series X. We had a chance to buy the Series S. But again, Microsoft has said it's not an next-gen console.
Yeah. Yeah.
So regards to this story about someone from Bethesda apologizing to...
Wait. Sorry, I want to see what else. What is the ridiculousness here is on this?
Continue.
But I was like, oh, that's just that random thing that popped up in me. Okay, so I'll continue this. It says it will be an Xbox Series X, S, and PC exclusive. And though this may be frustrating for PlayStation owners, Bethesda's longtime marketing boss, Pete Hines, says that he understands this is disappointing and apologized. It says here in quote, if you're a big fan of stuff we make and a game that we're making is no longer available on your platform, I totally understand if you're unhappy or pissed. I get it. Those are all real feelings and frustrations, Hines said in an interview with GameSpot. Continues here, says, I don't know how to ally the fears and concerns of PlayStation 5 fans are to say that, well, I'm a PlayStation 5 player as well, Hines added. And I played games on that console, and there's games I'm going to continue to play on it. But if you want to play Starfield, PC and Xbox. Sorry, all I can really say is I apologize, because I'm certain that's frustrating to folks, but there's not a whole lot I can do about it, end quote. Says here, I guess this is on his Twitter. It says here, I'm not apologizing for exclusivity. I don't, quote, have to do anything. Some of our fans are upset, angry, and I'm sorry they are. That isn't wrong or weird. It's acknowledging how they feel. That's it. That's my whole point. Pete Hines, June 16th. End quote. I'm just going to end it there. Arthur, your thoughts?
If I was Phil Spencer, I would backhand that man.
Really?
I did not spend $7.5 billion for you to fucking apologize to my competitor. Fuck you. I get it. Like, as a gamer, like if I was a PlayStation gamer.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I wouldn't get it. It's like they fucking bought it for $7.5 billion. What do you mean you're surprised they're exclusive?
I think, I think the reason why that's funny, and it makes sense why you say that, but I think the specific reason of why he had this guy do it is because these people can potentially be Xbox customers. So to be more sympathetic, say, hey, I get it. I have the PS5, PC, Xbox, and maybe they will end up getting a PC or an Xbox to play Starfield. But I thought it was funny because people that have been upset about this has been happening for generations.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
So that's the thing. It's like if I was a teenager, not knowing about because this isn't a console war thing. This is just again one company spent $7.5 billion, more than double what Disney paid for Star Wars. So again, the adult in me. I don't understand or sympathize with this.
Yeah.
But again, if you're like, you're younger, you're just in the moment of like, I can't play that. I'm not trying to shit on youth, but again, it's like the more I think about this is like, what about this is surprising? Like, it's like if Sony were announced they bought blank company, the next thing you're going to hear is Sony exclusive. That's the next thing you would hear.
I wonder, and I don't know if they divulged this information before the acquisition, but before Bethesda was purchased by Microsoft, what was Bethesda saying that it was going to be on all platforms?
I don't remember. I just remember being announced at the Xbox conference. And here's the thing, and like almost immediately, like the same week that deal was finalized, they did say exclusives are coming from Bethesda to Microsoft. Like they made that very clear.
Yeah.
Like again, like let's say, I don't know, again, like let's say the deal was finalized on a Monday, fucking Wednesday or Friday, they said, hey, the details are being worked out, but we are letting you know right now, there will absolutely be exclusive games from Bethesda.
They did say that. That's true.
To Microsoft.
They did say that.
So that again, that's why I'm like, it's like I didn't spend $7.5 goddamn billion for you to even address my competitor exists.
And this is more of a reason why Sony should have been at the fucking E3 conference, man, because they dropped this and people are like, what the fuck? And PS5 customers have nobody to look to because they weren't there, and what's his fucking name? Ryan? Jim Ryan. He's just like chilling. Like
Jim needs to step down, Ryan.
Yeah.
Because again, people are for the people that said Sony did okay by missing out. Again, 30 games shown from Microsoft, 27 of which on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Including fucking Starfield. So even if it was fucking coming out for Sony, that would have been a $70 game for the PS5.
Yeah.
That's more than 4 months of Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah. Yeah.
For one game.
Yeah.
So even then, it still would have been a win for Microsoft.
Yeah. It's true.
I just thought it's funny. They're like, hey, they apologize. The only reason why I'm kind of okay with the apology is because when it comes to, again, this is loosely connecting the dots.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, like, let's say cross-platform, Microsoft and Phil Spencer have been very public and open.
Yeah.
About keeping the doors open when it comes to cross-platform, like not fully shutting the door on Sony. It's like, hey, whether it's like Apex or Minecraft or fucking whatever, Fortnite, we just saw it go to court.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I could think of is, like, again, keeping the doors open, not fully going back to the age of a quote unquote console war. Because again, Microsoft has been very open about cross-platform, and then evolves, meaning potentially not losing customers, but potentially not having customers buy this game on a Microsoft console, but buying it for a Sony console and playing with Microsoft customers.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I can kind of see that, just again to keep that quote unquote door open.
Yeah.
But minus that, again, if you didn't see it coming, they hinted at it very early on. After this deal was done.
Yeah, it's true. I thought it was interesting just because, like, I remember just so many games, throughout the generation of games as far as being exclusive titles, like no one's knocking on Microsoft's door as far as like, man, Gears of War, why is it on PlayStation present?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, guys, this is ours.
Yeah.
This is what makes up our DNA of Microsoft.
Yeah,
Halo.
The exclusives definitely will help define the console wars. Mm-hmm. And again, this isn't a console war thing. Yeah. This is
I spent $70.5 billion.
Again, I can't stress something. I just still can't believe that Microsoft spent more on Bethesda than Disney spent on Star Wars.
That is insane.
In terms of ROI, Disney's making a fuck ton more of Star Wars than Xbox is ever to make off of Bethesda.
Absolutely.
So again,
great point.
So again, you address their competitors exist. That money wise, that's thing is how much Disney's gonna make return on investment for buying Star Wars for $3 billion. Versus how much Microsoft's going to make from Bethesda from a $7.5 billion purchase.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of purchases that are now going to be deteriorated, when it comes to the good old Grand Theft Auto that we're accustomed to and waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6.
Accustomed to is a very, very understated word.
Yes, incredibly understated. So according to Gaming Bolt, they put out a news article here along with other news sources talking about Grand Theft Auto Online for PS3 and Xbox 360 and how it's shutting down in December. So continues to say here, in quote, Rockstar Games has recently announced that support for Grand Theft Auto 5's online component will be shutting down on PS3 and Xbox 360 later this year. Announcing via a blog post on Rockstar's official website, the developer confirms that support will be dropping on December 16th this year. Players can, of course, play the single-player portion of Grand Theft Auto 5 even after servers shut down. While the move isn't surprising by any means, some fans to be curious about how many players actually play the game on these platforms at this point. Considering Sony itself tried to shut down PS3's digital storefront earlier this year, it's safe to say that not many people still play Grand Theft Auto 5, and thus support dropping shouldn't be much of an impact. Others are still clamoring at any potential updates on GTA 6, but no plausible rumors and reports seem to suggest anything substantial. However, PS5 and Xbox Series X and S versions of GTA 5 will be coming fall this year, so the game is going to keep on growing in the coming months and years, end quote. So is this a light at the end of the tunnel? Because we weren't hearing anything, regarding GTA 6, and as far as the development of it, where there's a couple of patents that maybe were connected to GTA 6.
You mean Take-Two's E3 panel wasn't informative at all?
I'm so glad you mentioned that.
It
was just a Zoom conference.
It was just a Zoom conference
about diversity.
About diversity at E3.
Yeah.
Again,
it's great, but people don't watch E3 for that.
Again, I feel like Ubisoft's video about that one girl working at Ubisoft, I feel like was like an orientation video they just aired at E3. I feel like this was like...
It's like, we're doing it live. It's like,
yeah, what? I feel like this was the same thing. Like, this was like a training video at Take-Two about diversity, and like, fuck it, put it at E3. Okay, what else are we putting at E3? What else are we putting at E3? Nothing. Just a giant fucking Zoom call about diversity.
Yeah.
Spoiler, this podcast could have told you that. Our video listeners will know what we're talking about.
Yes.
Just are you different? Cool. Moving on. Let's go. So yes, and I still like on this article they mentioned how some players aren't surprised at all because Sony itself tried to shut down the entire PS3 fucking store. The entire PS3 store almost got shut down by Sony, and they're like, "Oh yeah, GTA. Look, we forgot." My thing is like, how the GTA servers are going down for 360 and PlayStation 3. Let them all die. Let all the servers die. Let the servers for Xbox One and PS4 die.
Yeah.
Don't let it come out for PS5. Just let it die.
Do you think that this is a positive indication of them working on GTA 6?
No.
Or is this just they're just cutting costs to make more money or make more profit?
They're cutting costs.
Okay.
That's all it is. All this is cutting costs.
Yeah.
Again, I can't. This isn't like, oh, we're going to take away the efforts of this to make GTA 6. Again, E3 just happened, and we saw where Take-Two's focus is, and they don't give a fuck, and they just want to let people know they hire people of different origins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, cool story, bro. What games are you making? hey, all you different identifying people. I don't give a shit who you are. What game are you fucking working on?
It's so crazy to me. Like, as far as with GTA 6, it's so crazy to me how they're so guarded when it comes to people like, hey, it's like, what's the update on it? You know, like, and I remember one guy was like, I mentioned this on a couple of prior episodes. They were like, when they're ready, they'll say something. I'm just like, what? Like,
yeah, I remember when Rockstar was silent. Yeah, it was when Rockstar was silent, and Take-Two, their parent company, had to be like, we don't fucking know what they're doing. They'll announce shit when they announce shit. Yeah,
I'm like, Jesus. Like, and I wonder if it's just like, look, these guys are working on a project that's going to make billions of dollars, so I'm just going to let them cook.
And that's the thing I've mentioned. If it's about money, we'll buy the fucking game. But now it's like, because now they're on this teetering point where people might not want to buy it following this E3. And I know that's a small percentage, but again, as we've seen, we mentioned with Blizzard, Blizzard stuff like that. I mentioned that the behind the scenes exec decisions that draw gamers away because they want their money to go elsewhere. Not to that exact scale, copy and paste situation, but Rockstar's on the brink of that, of just losing a good chunk of its fan base from just actively being silent and actively interface not caring. Like Take-Two had a chance to really present something, because remember, Take-Two owns Take-Two owns Rockstar, 2K, all this shit, and what did they present to the annual gaming event that the world has its eyes on? A fucking Zoom call about, hey, diversity.
Give one of these.
I mean,
that's awesome, but
I have beyond thoughts, but I don't want to be a full asshole. But it's like, again, for E3, not the time or place. Like, that could have been a tweet. It could have been a tweet. It could have been anything else. But that was your E3 showcase for the world to see.
They could have they shouldn't have even shown up.
They shouldn't, because again, it's like, they mentioned diversity. It's like, do you want to know who else is diverse? Your fucking customers waiting for GTA 6.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, man. That in general is just kind of unfortunate. So, so we're gonna take a quick break because your cat's trying to break in. Break in.
She might have to go to the bathroom.
We gotta put him somewhere, but we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back right after this. All right, so welcome back here, and we wanted to talk about the season, the reason for the season, and how the season of BrokeToberfest.
BrokeTober is coming back.
BrokeTober is coming back, man. I thought this was really funny just because after E3, we look at everything in totality, right? Just to see where we're at when it comes to E3, when it comes to these games releasing. And we have a laundry list of games and some pretty heavy hitters. Some of them we've talked about before, but just looking at this in totality, right? So you have Super Monkey Ball, which is, obviously the remake of the first three titles coming out on October 5th. You have the highly anticipated Ubisoft title Far Cry 6 coming out on October 7th, which looks great. You also have Metroid Dread, which is, was announced. People are going to be picking that up. Most definitely, no doubt about that. On the 8th of October, and then Back 4 Blood, a huge title, obviously, as we mentioned before in the past, from the makers of Left 4 Dead. They're going to be they're going to be releasing that title on the 12th of October. And then the one that we've been kind of like giggling about and super excited about, Battlefield 2042 coming out on the 22nd of October.
I can't wait to ride a trike taxi into a tornado.
So really exciting stuff there. And then of course the Guardians of the Galaxy, which we are not excited for by any stretch of the imagination, is gonna be releasing here.
So I put you in the room.
On the 26th of October. So we can definitely skip that one. The BrokeToberfest, man. How are we going to do this? How are we going to play these games that we want?
And the thing is, for me, I want to buy and play 3 of those games.
Mm-hmm.
Far Cry, Battlefield, and Back 4 Blood.
Yeah.
And Back 4 Blood comes out a week before Battlefield.
Seriously. So, yeah, interesting stuff, man. So, I just thought that was really nuts, and that's not even talking about, September, because there's a decent amount of titles that are going to be coming out for September as well.
Life is Strange off the top of my head.
Yeah, Life is Strange True Colors looks great, and I think supposedly, what is that game? We just mentioned it, or I mentioned it, by Arcane Studios. Deathloop. I think Deathloop's supposed to be out in September, if not October.
Yeah.
So that's going to be around the corner as well. Yeah, man, this is going to be a crazy year for games, by the end of the year. Obviously, Halo coming out in November as well. Or actually, we don't know. They said holiday. But I'm shooting that November it's going to be out.
Yeah. I just realized something to make it a slightly less BrokeTober. Back 4 Blood's on Game Pass.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. Let me get your thoughts too, because they announced some information here that Back 4 Blood is going to be an online only title, even if you're playing solo.
What
do you think about that?
I mean, this is what kind of like where Mature Arthur comes in and has to pick up his cat again, because she likes chewing on wires. I swear she wants to. I swear my biggest fear is this cat is gonna be the cat from Christmas Vacation, and just chew on the wrong wire and zap. But back to your question. It's just, unfortunately, just like live services, as they call it, it's just becoming the norm now. Like Outriders. Remember when the Outriders server was down? You couldn't even play by yourself.
Oh, yeah.
It's like becoming, it sucks, but it's, I don't know why. That's the thing. I've just come to accept this is becoming the new norm, even though I don't exactly have a why.
Yeah. And you're talking about the why around why games are online only, even when there's single player options. Yeah,
because you think that would put less strain on the servers.
Yeah.
If you picked play offline, if like, let's say, like whatever, like 2,000 people are playing, and 10% of that are offline only, that puts less of a strain on the servers. Yeah,
you'd think. Yeah, that makes 100% sense. To me, it seems like it's online only just to get marketing information.
That's the only thing I'm thinking of. Like, oh, we have X average amount of players, but
it's just weird.
Yeah, it's. I guess that's more important. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny too, your point that you mentioned earlier. It's BrokeTober, but if you have Game Pass, it's less BrokeTober,
Yeah.
Obviously Far Cry 6 isn't on Game Pass, but Back 4 Blood, Halo, all a majority of those titles, out for fucking Game Pass. Man.
Yeah. I still love like that meme of like the parent, like that. Remember that Simpsons meme? Of like, no, that's how you do a showcase, and like it's like Microsoft slapping Sony.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be nuts. I'm excited for this year. It definitely, I don't know why Game Pass has made me more excited for games to come out. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird.
One more you missed, Bowling, because I think you didn't scroll down one more notch. That Mario Party game I was talking about comes out October 29th.
That's right. Yeah, we briefly talked about it, kind of stretched it past it. Yeah, exactly. The Mario Party Superstars, which they announced also during the Nintendo E3 Showcase 29th.
I have another new bunch, aka my housemate, that's over there. Might take Venmo him so I can put because more for me, Mario Party is like, again, just one of those classic, just fun games.
Yeah.
And now that has, of course, internet online support. Also, side note, that's what they know is weird. In 2021, Nintendo had to keep advertising that this game is online supported. Like,
Yeah.
it's 2021. It better fucking be. This isn't like the 1990s of the PS2 where like one out of every 100 games was online.
Go over to Timmy's house, bring your controller.
Yeah, it was like, hey, do you want to play online? Like, online in a PS2? What the fuck is that, you rich asshole? I have a $20 multi-tap. Bring your fucking controller over here.
Dude, I remember that there's that big ass fucking box where you plug in the Ethernet and had like the 5 gig hard drive.
Yeah, it was like ridiculous, dude. Going along with the PS2 was crazy. But again, that was one thing that just was weird about the Nintendo conference, is for games that were online, they constantly announce supported by online. That should be a given. That's like, okay, you're good job, guys. You're proud. You're online. My phone can fucking do that.
It's like, I hope so.
Yeah. But that was my little side thing about the Nintendo conference. I thought that was weird. It was like a big talking point, like, and it's supported by online. You're proud of that? Okay. Okay.
It's like, yeah.
I think that mobile game, Kim Kardashian's dream job, is also online.
Yeah, that was hard for me to talk about during that episode.
Yeah, it's like I forget what the context was. I think you're nicknaming developers, or like somebody bought like mobile rights or something, and you're like Kim Kardashian's. I'm fucking done. I'm done talking about this goddamn article.
Let me ask you this, Arthur. So, given there's a bunch of these games coming out, a good amount of them are going to be out for the Xbox Series X and S. Mm-hmm. I mean, do you think supply is going to open up at that point for the console?
We all hope.
Yeah.
I mean, this random past week how GameStop had some. There's hope.
Yeah.
I will say this to answer your question. I don't know, but I hope so.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't. That's hope. All I have is hope. But I'm also quick little soapbox here. Fuck you, Walmart, for having Xbox Series X's in stock.
We are gonna get no sponsors for this podcast.
Like, no, I think you could back me up on this because Walmart does have has new Xboxes in stock right now for $950 at a major retailer. You're like, because it comes with this fucking combo pack of all this shit.
Yeah,
that's. Fuck you.
Yeah, that's insane. And I feel like you can almost sue for that.
Because that's literally almost like a major retailer doing what a fucking scalper is. Mm-hmm. And it's Walmart.
Yeah.
It's like, Walmart, people, do you know your fucking customer bases? They go to you to save money, not spend $1,000, you fucking assholes.
Like the same guy that buys an Xbox Series X is gonna get a lawn chair. He's gonna get a blender. He's gonna get a TV dinner for the house. Like, there are things at Walmart where you're like, those customers will come back.
It's like, because the bundle is like a controller and like no games, by the way. Mm-hmm. It's not a bundle. Their bundle is not games. It's like the bundle is like a year of like every subscription separately. It's a year of Xbox Gold separately, a year of not Game Pass Ultimate, which comes with Gold.
Right.
It's a year of Game Pass separately with the $10 one, not the $15 one.
Damn.
And then a year of like, I think like Netflix or something.
Yeah.
It's like all these fucking subscriptions. A year of EA Play, all this shit, and a headset. I think it comes with.
Yeah. Yeah, that's.
It just sucks that there's a shortage on Walmart. It's like $950 before tax.
It's like, is that who bought all these consoles? Walmart?
Like, a part of me
took them off the truck.
Dude, a part of me is like, I might ask my friends like, I might ask my friends like in Oregon or Texas to like buy me an Xbox and just ship it to me, aka states without sales tax.
Oh,
Because for those of you that are listening to this out of state, California sales tax is 10.25%. So when you're buying a $500 console, it adds up.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So I have friends, that live in the States, so there's no sales tax, and I'm like, what? You mean I don't have to spend an extra like $55? Get the fuck out of here.
Exactly. So with that being said, I mean, we'll see what happens in the future, man. Definitely this year is going to be a pricey one, unless you have Game Pass to save a little bit of money. But hopefully people can get a console, where they can play this stuff on. You know, I mean, shit, I was even having trouble. I mean, everybody's having trouble with this, but this is as far as like the video cards, you know, the RTX cards.
RTX cards, yeah.
You know, so hopefully, you know, Bitcoin goes down low enough where they actually reduce the price of the bit. It replenishes the stock on those.
Oh, well, I was like, I'm on the opposite. To the moon! Just kind of wrapping up E3.
Yeah.
So that's the side shit that came up to mind. Is that how Nintendo said that they are open, that they're happy they did not talk about the Switch Pro.
Uh-huh.
How they said like,
yeah, that was weird.
No, they did it on purpose. Like they're I forget the exact wording, but the context was like, oh yeah, there's no way we're talking about a new console E3. And I was like, okay.
It's like, why?
What's up, little dude? My cat loves attention. And look at wires. There you go. I swear it's so different having a dog.
Me hating cats, I'm just like,
it's like I boop them like a dog. You can like boop twice. You're like, oh, I'm not gonna go over there. I keep getting booped. This cat's like, what does he keep putting me down? What a fucking asshole.
Yeah, man. It's interesting that Nintendo, you know, was opposed to announcing a new console.
My guess again. I never read the article. Clickbait. I was just like, I'm a title kind of guy. Like, okay.
Wait till you see what he does next.
I know. Yeah. Nintendo doesn't want to. Nintendo has a new console. You'll never guess what they do next. Not talk about it. The only thing I'm thinking is supply.
Yeah.
Supply and or date.
Yeah.
Because if they're running out, you know, if I take a step back, and if, you know, as we talked about, if the Switch is low on supply now, most likely the Switch Pro. Same thing, that chip thingy processor.
Yeah. That component.
There you go.
Yeah.
It definitely would have to be involved in the Pro.
Yeah.
And also I'm thinking because of the price. Remember how it was like a French retailer leaked, and that's like, if you do the conversion, it's like $500 US. And again, that's a price that console people and PC people are used to, but not Nintendo people.
Yeah, that's
right.
That's right.
For, you know, Sony people or Xbox people watching, like, oh, it's not bad. It's a higher power console. Nintendo people will be like, no. Why is this console more than $300?
Right. Yeah. I was like, I got to deal with this. Yeah.
Sorry, but that was my impression of Nintendo console people. Hearing the word $500 in their conference. It's like, hey, I'm okay waiting 7 years for Metroid Prime 4, but god damn it if I'm gonna spend $500.
Oh, fair point there. Well, folks, we are going to wrap up the Gamers for Life podcast here for episode 39. Of course, like I said before, if you haven't done so already, be sure to like and subscribe so you can know when the episodes come out, and then you know, also watch the other content we're going to have here for the Gamers for Life podcast. And until then, we're going to sign off here. My name is Jarrell, and of course, my co-host, Arthur Thomas.
That's me, making sure my cat doesn't chew shit.
All right, folks. Well, thank you so much. We'll see you next week.